about patience and wanted to do some and recently the thought changed to that I should have more discipline in my life. So I think it's the next step, because like discipline itself is a organized form of patience, right?
We need to have patience in the practice of the whole path, in the precepts, samadhi, and wisdom practice too. All the practices need patience, because patience is the mental quality that we need to continue our journey, whatever direction we are walking. So whatever we are practicing, we need patience to make it continuous. Otherwise, we just practice according to the desire. When we feel good, then we practice. When it doesn't feel good, then we just give up the practice. And that is not the way of Eightfold Path. The way of Eightfold Path in Pali is called the Patipatta. Patipatta, it means kind of practice of continuous practice, balanced practice. So with this practice, we continue in the time when we are diligent, and also in the time when we are lazy. We need to do it the same. So this such kind of continuous practice is also a practice of patience. So if we want to perform well in the precepts, we also need patience. If we want to perform well in samadhi, we also need patience. Because it is impossible for our mind to be always in the good mode, right? We must have some times that we are down, we are not so diligent, we have bad mood sometimes. And this is the time that we need patience to overcome. So when we practice precepts, we also practice patience at the same time. Just continue the precept. Whatever you feel good or feel bad, just continue to do it. To take it as kind of it's a regulation of your life. If you set a time for meditation every day, maybe 2 sessions in a day, so just keep your plan, keep the schedule. This is practice of precept. Okay. And that's all?
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we start officially, morning guys, and my name's Alan, so please let me know if you will need any assistance. So let us bow 3 times to Ajahn if you haven't do it yet, and you can do it by yourself in your way, or else we can all do it together. Azali Vandana Abhivandana Azali Vandana Abhivandana Azali Vandana Abhivandana. So welcome to join us once again, and so let us thank Ajahn Yiu ahead for his precious time, and Michi Fafa for all the preparations, equipment, as well as everyone else who makes this happen. And we are recording these meetings, and we're going to share it on YouTube a bit later. So everything will be in public. So if you have any questions which might be too private to ask Ajahn, you could stay behind and let us chat with Ajahn in a more casual ways. So yeah, that's it. So thank you very much, and please, Ajahn.
Okay. Number 19, you have some friends with you today?
Oh, yes, I do. So here is Daisy, my longtime best friend. Here is Daisy's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is
Hi.
Buddhist too.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever practiced meditation before?
No, it's my first time.
Okay. So you can try to follow the instruction first and try your best. And if you have any question, then we can discuss later after the meditation.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then if you don't have any special question before we start, then let's do the meditation. So we start the meditation with the body posture. And if you choose to sit on the ground, then the better way to sit is to place your legs touching the ground as much as possible. And we need to relax the joint between our legs and our lower abdomen. For those who are not so used to sitting on the ground, then maybe you have some difficult time during the meditation, or you can take some cushions to help you. You can place a cushion under your hip, raise your hip so that you can sit more comfortable. And the principle of the body posture is to keep our spine upright and relaxed. It's a naturally upright posture. So and the base of our body, that is our leg and our hips, the triangular area between the knees and the hip. So it's better to be touching the ground as much as possible and keep it stable and firm. And relax your lower body, relax the base. And for the upper body, we keep the middle line of the body straight. The middle line is the point, is the line between the very top of your head and the area in between the sex organ and anal. So draw a straight line between these 2 points, and this is the middle axis of the body. So in order to keep this line straight, we need to push our hip a little bit backward, and so that your spine will be in a natural curve. Keep the middle line straight, and all the other parts of the body, just let it be relaxed. So just imagine that this middle axis is just like a pillar, and the whole body is just like a cloth covering this pillar. And when the middle axis of the body is straight, the air channel of the body will be also straight. The air channel start from the sinuses, throw and direct it down to the lower abdomen. Just keep it straight and empty. so that our breathing will be more at ease. Just let the body breathe itself. Keep the body still and relaxed. And it may take some time before the inner vibrations to settle down itself. There are a lot of subtle vibrations or stress in the body. And we just try our best to relax, to withdraw our controlling mind, withdraw the sense of being a master of this body, and come back to be a humble knower to it. Just know that now here is the body sitting here and breathing itself. And you are no longer the master of this body. Just leave it here and let it breathe. And after we relax body muscles and joints, we try to relax some deeper parts of the body. First, we pay attention to the area of the brain. Here is the center of the nervous system. And there are a lot of subtle stress in the nerves, in the brain. Feel your brain. See whether there are some feelings of tightness, heaviness in this area. Now, relax the brain, unfold your brain, release all the stress inside. We have accumulated a lot of stress in the nerves because we are always thinking in a daily life, always using the brain. The brain is tired, but such tiredness is usually covered up by the agitation. And only when we can relax the brain, we feel the tiredness from inside. But we need to release this stress before we can actually balance the nervous system. Just try to surrender yourself to nature. Try to delete the sense of self, sense of ego. You are no longer the master of this body and the brain. Try to let it go, let it be relaxed. Just like putting down in a cup of water, just let the water settle down itself. And we can do nothing to the process of natural settlement. Just keep knowing it and don't disturb it. It is the nature relaxing your body. It's not you relaxing the body. Just be open to the present moment. You can rely your mind on the breathing. Breathing is the natural breathe. It is the work of nature. Let the brain take a rest in the breathe. Just like having a sleep in the summer midday, in the comfortable breeze. Let the brain take a sleep. We don't need to use the brain in the meditation. Let the brain take a sleep, but the mind is awake. The mind is not awake, the brain. The brain can clearly know that the mind and the mind can clearly know that the brain is sleeping. It's taking rest. When there are some thoughts come, just know that these are the thoughts. These are the functions of the brain. Just know it and let it go. Know it and forget it. Don't go into the meaning of the thoughts. Just know that there is a thought. In order to live at the present moment, we need to keep knowing in every moment, and also need to let go in every moment. Because everything that comes to our knowing exists only for one moment. They arise and they cease and they pass away. Everything is rising and falling. The breath in the just past moment is forever gone. Everything in the past moment is no longer existing. So every moment is a new moment, a new life. And for everything we know, we need to let go immediately. Otherwise, we cannot keep up the new present moment. Just keep the brain sleep in the breeze of breath. And you can try to relax yourself into the breathing, into the present moment breathing. If the brain is tired and there's a feeling of sleepiness, be aware that it's just a feeling of the brain, a sensation of the brain. It's not you. And just let the brain take a rest so that it can recover from the tiredness. The key point is to keep our mind undiluted. Don't get lost in the feelings. The feelings are just the objects of the mind. It is not the mind itself. The mind is just a knower. The pure mind cannot do anything, just simply know. You can try to look deeper into the brain try to identify the, the areas of tightness, areas of tiredness of the mind, of the brain. Just like doing a body scan, scanning the brain, to feel the brain, to sense the brain. If we are using the brain too much in our daily life, then the brain is agitated. This is natural, and even we want it to be peaceful, it's impossible to stop the process of thinking immediately. We need to give it some time to slow down and to stop. But don't get involved in the process. Otherwise, we are giving more energy to work, to think. Just know it and keep uninterrupting. The most important point that we are practicing in the meditation is the right view, right understanding that the body is not me, the mind is not me. And the first step leading to such understanding is to separate the knower from the objects being known. This is the first step leading to wisdom. And when our mind and the body are more pacified, more peaceful, then it is easier to separate the knower. When we can have the independent knower and keep knowing the present moment, this is the right mindfulness. It is a kind of knowing, continuous knowing without self. Everything that we are experiencing are just scenarios for the mind. The mind is experiencing everything at the present moment, including the body, including the feelings, sensations in the body, including the thoughts. These are all the scenarios for the mind. The mind, or the knower, is the one practicing, but it is not me. And what we are cultivating is cultivating this mind. It is the mind practicing meditation. It is the mind cultivating wisdom. It is the mind to be enlightened, not me. So just come back to the present moment, right now. Whatever that you are knowing, whatever that appears in front of you, these are the scenarios for the mind. And whatever you can know is not the mind itself. The mind is the knower. The mind is something that you can never see. Just like the eye can never see the eye itself. The eye can only see the image in the mirror, but it can never see itself. And from the existence of objects that we know that there is the knower. But don't get involved in whatever you are knowing. They are not the mind. And whatever we know, ask yourself, who is knowing? And so that we not get lost, get absorbed into the objects. And when the mind is completely absorbed into the object and forget that it is just a knower, and then this is not the right way doing the samadhi. Samadhi is cultivating this mind and not cultivating the meditation object. So we are not trying to keep the meditation object as long as possible in front of us. And we are using the meditation object as a tool to keep the mind present. The object is just an indicator of the present moment. And when the mind can stay in the present, can stay independent, and this is the mind awakened mind. This is the mind that I call the mind at the middle. It is at the middle of the whole body and mind, all the physical and mental phenomena. It's like the middle emptiness of the ring. It is inside the ring, but it is not on the ring. So our five khandhas, the body and the mind, are just like the ring, and we set the knower at the right middle. And it knows the whole ring without being attached. And once the mind attached to anything, then naturally you will think that this is me or this is belong to me. This is the start point of ego. We suffer from the pain of the body because we are attached to the body. We think that this body is me, so I am suffering from the pain. But if we are really mindful at the present moment, then we know that there is the pain, but there is no self-suffering. For the beginners, if it is too difficult for you to sit on the ground, you can choose to sit on the chairs. The true meaning of meditation is to cultivate the mind. Stay at the present moment. Whether the mind is peaceful or not peaceful is not that important. When the mind is not peaceful, and if you are aware that your mind is not peaceful, then you are still mindful. When the mind is irritated, you know that the mind is irritated, and you are mindful at this moment. Just be open to the present moment, to everything happen in the present moment. And be a humble knower. We don't need to concentrate in order to know. Knowing is effortless. Knowing will be clear in relaxation. And actually, if you can relax the attachment to ego, the attachment to this body and mind, then the knowing is completely released. It becomes complete, become full awareness. We don't know not because that we are not concentrated enough, but because that we are attached to something. We limit it. We limit the mind with something inside some boundary that is called the ego. when we are sleepy, we are attached to the sleepiness. Then we limit our mind inside the boundary of sleepiness. They are just feelings. When it is sleepy and you know that it is sleepy, then this knowing is not limited by the sleepiness. We need to have the courage to sacrifice, to surrender the ego, surrender the whole body and the mind. When it is painful, why not just face directly to the pain? Just know that it is painful and keep the mind neutral. When it is sleepy, why don't just face directly to the sleepiness and keep the mind neutral? They are just feelings. We can separate the mind and the feelings. Then we can understand what the real happiness. The happiness of the mind is different from the happiness of the feeling. Feeling and the happiness on the feeling level is sensory. It's related to our senses. But the happiness of the mind is kind of openness, brightness, kind of ease of the mind. And it doesn't need to rely on any objects. And you can simply be content with the present moment. Such happiness of mind is more worthy for us to practice. The happiness of the senses as a result of fulfillment of wants. And the wants can never be fulfilled forever. The wants are created continuously. So we can never be completely fulfilled. Only when we can give up the wants, the mind is content, is satisfied in itself. And such happiness is unconditional because we don't need anything from external to fulfill the mind. The mind is in itself content. Our mind is not peaceful, and then we can never be satisfied, no matter how much we have in life that is never content. Terrible, and no matter how wealthy you are. Just keep knowing the present breathing. Every moment is a new meditation session. But it is not you who are meditating. It is the mind. The body is sitting. The mind is meditating. It's not you. Just, just let them do the work themselves. Peaceful or not peaceful, it's not important. Peaceful without awareness to the present moment. It's not mindfulness. It's not practicing Dhamma. But unpeaceful, but knowing the present unpeaceful mind is practicing meditation. Answer for today. can open your eyes and slowly move your body. Keep knowing the present moment. Okay, number 19.
Good afternoon, Ajahn. Okay. Today,
Okay.
today the meditation is very peaceful. Able to be mindful at the present moment. And then in the middle of the meditation, suddenly I can feel the heat coming out from my body. Very, very hot. So I just note it. And later, the heat slowly disappears. Then I feel cool again, cooling sensation. And then after that, it's like normal. So like the heat is just temporary. And initially the mind wanted to move, to on the fan bigger, but I just maintain it. I just watch it. Then actually, after a short while, it actually disappear.
So just let it disappear. Just when it's there, just know that it's there. When it's not there, just know that it is not there. We are cultivating the mind. We are not cultivating the temperature. So everything that happened to the present mind is just an indicator to the present moment. And for everything we know and just let go, just forget it immediately. We don't need to keep it. And finally, we are cultivating the wisdom, the perspective of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. And there's no good or bad, there's no right or wrong, but everything is just impermanent. So from the perspective of Dhamma, we can see everything in a neutral way. And let them change. If we don't keep it, then it will go. Okay, so only discussion, right?
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Actually, I called 19. Maybe but never mind. That's fine. Okay, because 19 they are in Canada, and they are very. It's almost midnight.
Okay.
Okay, 19. You need to unmute first. 19.
Good evening, Bande. Today, me and Daisy and her boyfriend is the first time to join the Dharma class. She's a Buddhist as well. I feel better today, although some sneeze, maybe allergy or something. But it's better than yesterday already. I got an urgency that I will come back tomorrow, and I will stop. I think I stopped listening music for 2 weeks. The mindfulness arises quite some, but I need to keep looking at the phone when the client keep texting to me. Some of them are quite meaningless message, but I got a sense of urgent. Tomorrow I better have a better condition when I do meditation in front of you, or I feel I didn't get any progress.
Just know the present situation. So don't limit our mind into any boundary. Once we think that feeling is itself, then we are limited to the feelings. Once we think that the thoughts is itself, then we are limited to the thoughts. And this is the ego. This is attachment. And if we simply know everything that happens to us, know and let go, know and let go, then this mind is boundless. It is not inside anything. It's not attached to anything. And this is the perspective that we need to cultivate in the practice of mindfulness. And mindfulness is not just simply knowing the present object, but know with the perspective of wisdom, know with the perspective of non-self. And this is the correct mindfulness, not just concentrating on one object, and that is not the right one. So once we remember, just come back to the present moment. The past moments are all gone. They never exist now. So just forget them. Restart the meditation again. Every moment is a new meditation session. So don't think that, don't just expect that we can do for maybe 1 hour, 2 hour mindfulness. Just think to do 1 moment mindfulness. So we whenever we can be mindful for even just 1 single moment, that we accumulate 1 moment mindfulness to the mind. And such accumulation will gradually change our mental habit, make our mind more awake. So don't look down on this 1 moment mindfulness. When the mind enjoys to be mindful, enjoys to be awake, then it will automatically goes to look for such kind of mindfulness. Mindfulness means continuous, the continuity of knowing at the present moments. And when we can continue the knowing of to the present moment, then it will become more stable and not so easily being distracted. And such stability is called samadhi. Samadhi is the stability of knowing, and wisdom is the perspective of knowing, the way you look at this world, how you understand the world, how you know interpret things, and the perspective of Buddhism is using the non-self. Everything that we can know is not me. It's not the knowing, and even the knowing itself is not me too. Right? So everything is, there's no such thing called me, self, in the world. They're just concepts. But what we can actually know is that there is the body, there is a feeling, and there is a thought, and there is a knowing. And these are things that actually exist. These are the phenomena. But there's no such thing called self. We can never see something called self. Self is just kind of the boundary that we draw ourselves in the nature, right? And we think that inside this boundary, it is me, it is belong to me, and outside, they not belong to me. They are just concepts, like the concept of country. It is not real. Country is just concept. But what is real is that they are just the land. Land is real, but country is not real. So self is not real too. So the wisdom is the perspective of knowing. We know things in the way they actually are, and this is the spirit of Buddhism. And practicing meditation is a combination of the mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. And we are cultivating this mind to have the continuity of knowing, to have the stability of knowing, and to have the right perspective of knowing. So only the combination of these 3 is called the right way to practice meditation. Not just looking for the peacefulness in this 1 hour. These are all impermanent, but something more long-lasting. Cultivate the mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom of the mind. Not just in meditation, but in the whole life. And how are your friends? Do they understand?
Yeah, I understand a little bit. Not like him. I appreciate your very kind
How is your meditation today?
I feel like for the first 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, fine. After that, it's like things like start happening in my mind. You know, like different things. It's always a problem for me when I focus on something. Like, for example, when I was studying for like an hour, 2 hours, sometimes small things like just jump into my mind, popping up.
I mean the thoughts, right?
Yeah, I'm so easy to get interrupted by the things. But just for a few seconds, I don't even know why.
So when our mind is not so used to a long time concentration, it is like this, because you are forcing your mind to focus on the breathing. If you're forcing it to do this, then it's not balanced. It will struggle. And when your power of controlling is weakened, then you lose. And this is normal. So the right way to do the meditation is to do from the way of relaxation. Knowing is not a result of concentration, but knowing is a result of that the mind has no obstacles to knowing. What are the obstacles to our knowing? There are 5 hindrances in Buddhism, in the meditation. And one is the sensual craving. One is Yiu, or you can say aversions. And the third is sloth and torpor, a sleepy mind. And fourth is agitation, or the thoughts scatter the mind. These are fourth. And the fifth is doubt. And when the mind has no such hindrances, and knowing is the natural function of the mind, it is effortless. So if we want to practice meditation well, we need to understand these 5 hindrances, to recognize them and know the way to deal with them. And at the beginning, you can just start to do knowing the breathing naturally. We don't need to sit in a too straight posture. Just do whenever you are free. And just sitting there and know that there's breathing in and out. Just know it normally. And don't make yourself stressed. Maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that's quite enough. But try to keep it every day.
Okay.
And when your mind becomes peaceful in such mindfulness practice, then the time will extend itself.
Yeah.
Don't make it kind of stressful work. Otherwise, you will never like to practice meditation after this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and yes.
I was just my first time. I was just kind of observing.
Yeah.
I find I'm okay with closing my mind off and trying to focus on my breathing, but I felt just my body tension makes it very uncomfortable. Yeah. So just today, that was what I noticed the most. So I don't know if I'm finding a different position to be in, or.
Yeah, you can try to sit in the chair or in the sofa. If it doesn't make you sleepy, then you can do it in whatever posture you like. Just make the mind relaxed and present. So when it is too comfortable, and sometimes our mind will get lazy. So you need to get the just right point between the relaxation and the clear knowing of the mind. So just in whatever posture, relax to the present moment, and know the body is breathing. Remember, the body is breathing, not you are breathing. Just know in the perspective that this body is breathing like this now. Just follow the breathing like this, and keep knowing the present breathing is to cultivate the mind to stay at the present moment. Usually, our mind is not so used to be in the present moment. We are always looking for in the past or in the future, thinking this and that all the time. We are not with the present moment. So using the breathing is a very good tool for keeping the mind present. Do it with a relaxed manner. Same, you can just use 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning. And if you don't have any time for this, you can do it before you sleep. Before you go to sleep, you can just sit maybe in the sofa and know the breathing for some minutes, and that will clear up your mind, and you improve your sleeping quality.
Okay, I'll
so
try
try
that.
to cultivate such habits. Don't be stressed.
Yeah, I try. I always try that. It's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Usually Westerners are more suitable for the chess.
I think so. Yeah. for the beginning.
Yeah.
There you go, me.
Yeah. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Don't need you.
Okay.
我们顶礼，然后我们就能走了。
好。
So see you next time, Ajahn.
Okay. 你的朋友是中国人呢？
哦，是，
我是中国人。
对。明天我想问一下师父，明天的禅修班是普通话的是几点钟啊？
下午，今天晚上。你们不是晚上的，我们这边是晚上。就香港，泰国时间是6点钟了，就北京时间7点钟。今晚，北京时间7点钟。
师父，你普通话说的好好啊！
我也是在大陆出生的，我在福建出生的。
师父，你在福建出生的？对。
你可以跟Freddy 联络，看有那些或者跟旁边这个 Priscilla 联络，也可以。然后就现在要先下载一个叫做腾讯会议Woo Meeting 的一个 apps。
我计划每周至少参加2晚，就是今天又参加我的正念又多一些，之后1周我就更舒适。对，我要更精进些，觉得我不够精进，太懈怠了我。
好你可以跟 Freddy 联络了
没问题，辛苦了师父了，1周要做3个禅修班，
辛苦
还行了，4个，
还有韩国班。4个吗？是还有泰文吗？
韩国班，韩国因为有一批韩国人，就我也是用英文说，但他们要翻译成韩语。
师父，你会韩语啊？
他们翻译。
我说英语啊。
师父很辛苦啊！现在中英、广东话、韩国都得开班。
对了好了，你们先去休息吧去睡觉。
谢谢师父。
如果哪个时间方便，你就自己看看哪个班方便就自己参加OK。
那下周再见了，师父。
OK， 好。OK, number 8.
John, how are you?
8. Yes, I'm fine.
Today, I see improvement. I also experienced that recently I have these thoughts. Even just now when I was meditating, it looks like body will breathe itself. I also experienced that. I just want to ask that indeed, like who is breathing? Even like sometimes in my daily time, I have these thoughts also is who is eating. Yeah. I think the path is maybe it's right path.
The first step of practicing meditation or cultivating mindfulness is to wake up the mind. Wake up the mind means to wake up the knowing. Usually our knowing is diluted into certain objects, into the five khandhas. We're thinking that we are the body, or we are the feelings, we are the thought, we are the thinking mind. And even we are the knowing mind is kind of attachment too. But with the first step, we just try to wake up the mind, make the mind be awake. That means everything we are doing, just know that it is the mind experiencing. The mind is knowing. When you can do everything without such knowing, this knowing mind deluded, get lost, then this is the first step of mindfulness. So when you're eating, actually the mind is knowing, right? When you're walking, the mind is knowing. It is the mind experience the whole life, everything in your life. It is not this body, not the person that with certain name. So it is just the mind, the knower. So this is to separate the knower from everything that it knows. To prevent getting deluded into any object. So when the mind becomes the knower becomes more obvious and more stable, then the mindfulness has the base. Then after that we can cultivate wisdom easily. We can even know in a way that without attaching to this knower, we simply know that that's the knower knowing, but there's no me. But anyway, the first step is to make the knower obvious, very clear.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. Also, just experience that that there was a thought that say, "Oh, your leg is pain," and then the other voice is, "This is not me, not you, not your body." I mean, just now, during the meditation. So okay, I know how it goes, Ajahn. I think just to make sure that the knower, I practice it become more clearer. I will understand it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
And number 10. How is it?
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's you.
How are you?
You can see the number.
Yeah, no, I couldn't see the number. I'm going to put my glasses back on.
How's the meditation?
A small thing. I know the Canadian people have gone, but a good thing for novice meditators is to understand that one of the things of meditation is that they can actually replace sleep with meditation. Of course, they do it before sleep. They actually can replace sleep with meditation. So some people have an afternoon nap, for instance.
If you can keep your mind awake, then that's fine. If
we
mind...
used to meditate on the trains in Hong Kong. And we would just
if you can do it, then that's fine. Because the posture, the mind has no postures, right? We are cultivating the mind. We're not cultivating the body. But certain postures, we have certain effects on the mind. Like when the posture is too comfortable, then the mind is easily getting lazy, right? When it is diluted into the feeling, comfortable feelings, and then it is lazy. When it is lazy, then it doesn't want to know. It is not awake. Then this is called sleeping, real sleeping, not meditation. Right? But when you can keep your mind awake and deluded during in the sleeping posture, and then that's fine.
Yeah, the actual energy taken with meditation means you can actually sleep less in a day.
If your samadhi getting deeper, then you can replace the sleeping. It has a stronger resting effect.
This is what Priscilla and I did a lot when we were in together.
But that's fine if when you are doing in the sleeping posture, just do as much as you can. And when you fall in sleep, then just let it sleep. And just try to keep the awareness in all postures in the whole day. And when the body is still or the body is moving, doesn't matter. Just know the present.
As this year last week is that we've been able to meditate with the phone going open, and we can be in tune over the phone with a phone, and we know we can sense the other environment.
Seeing other what?
The other environment. Like I can sense environments Priscilla's sitting in, and she can sense the environment that I'm sitting in. Even though they're two different places. By meditation.
In the meditation, you can sense.
So we're meditating the same time.
Yeah.
The phone open. All right, so I've got the phone going, connection point. And with her background noises, and my background noises being different, we can fill the gaps with meditation. Very interesting.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. It depends on the relations and the connections between the persons. So when the mind are open to each other, and sometimes you have some effects like this. Do I answer your question?
No, that wasn't a question. It was a statement, actually. This is what we found. It was the question.
Just keep knowing the present moment, and actually, when we have the mindfulness established, then everything will be easy. Everything starts from the mindfulness in Buddhist practice. Samadhi is the natural result of mindfulness, and wisdom is also need to be combined with mindfulness. Without mindfulness, the present moment, we have nothing.
So, when are you going to come and visit us?
We need to ask COVID. Just let it be.
We visit Ajahn, great. Not another way around, okay.
I got to tease him.
Okay.
It's good to see you smiling.
Okay, then.
Okay, hope to see you soon.
Yeah,
someday again.
Number 11.
Sorry?
11. I'm asking number 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During my meditations in the past few days until today meditations, it was feel like not in a peace, and a lot of thoughts are coming in, but I'm trying to get it to knowing about that and keep on let it go and try to stand in the current situation. So this is I try to overcome during my meditation.
Just keep meditation is not something special from other activities. Just keep it part of your life. It is normal portion of life. So when we perform well or not well in the meditation, don't take it too serious. So just start again. Start from the present moment. It is normal because our mind is impermanent. Meditation, mental states are also very impermanent. But we are not to train the mental states to be permanent, to be static, never change. We are changing the mind to know whatever that happens, to know as they are. And this is more important than the peaceful mind. So in some days when our mind is not peaceful, sometimes it is uncontrollable. It's sometimes because of our physical situation, or the environment, or some mental frustration. There's so many conditions that we cannot control. But what we can do is just to know the present moment. So just come back to this point. Then we are not confused. So everything that we know from the perspective of wisdom, of anicca, dukkha, anatta. So that's a conclusion. What we are cultivating is a mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. And actually, these three qualities are describing the same mind. We're cultivating the mind to have such qualities. Then we will not be doubt. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So what? Just start again. Accept it and forget it. Forget the past. We forgetting the past is a very important training for us. We need to know quick, and also need to forget quick.
Okay. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Just forget it and try again. Okay. And 12.
Yes, I do, Ajahn. My meditation today is just like normal one. Just what I aware is that I'm more aware and more sensitive towards my internal changes, like my emotions or my feelings internally. And for the past few days, and then I heeded your advice, like did some short meditation between my studies, my breaks. Yeah, that really helps a lot. Yeah, so this is the changes I've observed so far. So I'm still learning and improving. Yeah, so appreciate Ajahn's advice.
We need to have some breaks in our work in order to maintain a higher level of mindfulness in the studies. And also we also need to have some formal meditation session to have a deeper relaxation. This is also quite important. But don't attach to the peaceful mind. Peaceful mind is for a clear observation. Peaceful mind is not an aim in itself. If we are attached to the peaceful mind, then we don't want to do anything else. We don't want to be diligent. We don't want to study. We think that these are the distractions to our meditation. This is wrong. Peaceful is just take a rest, but we also need to work. And the mind need to be still, and also need to flow. It's a still flowing water. When it is completely still, then it's not flowing. It's not. It doesn't have enough oxygen, not enough energy. I don't want to move. And when it is always flowing, it's never being still, then it's not peaceful. It's not clear. The water the water is not clear, and that means our mind is agitated. Our mind is always thinking this and that. So we need to balance the two. The stillness and the flowiness should be combined together. The mind will be is peaceful and also flexible. So when you are studying, just focus on your studies. Do it wholeheartedly and just know the present situation, the present present study, the present efforts. It is nothing different from meditation. But the brain will get tired. So we also need to have some time to let the brain sleep, let the brain take a rest. Okay, and doing this way, your studies will be good.
Yeah, I really find that it helps. Yeah. And I can see the effect. Yeah.
Okay. Number 5.
Hi. The meditation, in the meditation today, there were some instructions that were very relieving that I heard a lot of time, but it was like making the mind feeling peaceful or feeling more light. And I'm trying to remember which one was the one that was, because that it's just passing. Connected with the mind. Wait, I don't remember. It was anyway.
Never mind. That means you forget quick. That's good. You let go the past very quick.
But anyway, it is connected with that the mind. No, let's forget about it. Anyway, something that was in that moment making the mind more relaxed. I noticed during the day that the work I do it's very intense, and that has a negative impact on the meditation, or not on the meditation, on the mind. It makes it very tensed, and it is the greed for. I notice it's really greed in the mind that makes it so suffering.
Yeah, that's it.
Sitting, it is just making it more clear what is happening, because there is the possibility to see the body, to disattach, to see the body, to look at things. So it's not so deep in with thoughts, but there is this tension inside, which is not all the time, but it's quite present, and that is I connect it directly with my life, and when you were speaking with number 11 or 12, it was a very good reminder what I heard. I should really put in some slots of sitting during the day, because it is like unabruptly I can work in hours, and that is not good.
Yeah, that is not good. When our mindfulness is not that strong enough, then we need some break to recall our mindfulness. So call back the mind, mental states. Just some small breaks, like 2 or 3 minutes, quite enough. Maybe once in an hour or half an hour, 2 or 3 minutes, drinking some water, and just let the mind take a rest, let the brain take a rest. And when we can recall the mental state like this, then try to keep it during the work. The body is working, the brain is working, but the mind is resting. That means the mind has no greed or aversion to push ourselves to work faster. So then after the work, the brain can be tired, but the mind is not tired. And our mind is still happy and energized, and we can still practice meditation very well. But when the mind is tired, then it's difficult. The mind is tired only by the greed, aversion, and delusion, not by the work. Remember this. The work can tire the body, but not the mind. So it's we ourselves make our mind tired because we create all these greed, aversion, and delusion. Right? Just let the body work. It's not me. The mind doesn't need to work. Just let the brain think, let the brain plan, let the brain manage, but not the mind. Why the mind need to get involved with greed, aversion, and delusion? It's not necessary, right? Just make it. Focus on the work, and then actually the mind is resting when we are focusing on the work. But if we want to work, to do it better, or if we don't like to work, but we force ourselves to work, then this is draining the energy of the mind. So these are the difference between the feeling and the mind that I always emphasize. If we can separate these two, then we can understand what is more important and what is the real happiness. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. I will try to put it into. I think I really need to take this short breaks to teach the mind to be present and to divide the mind from the brain activity, to not get involved, to see the intention in the work actually. I have a question anyway. On the 5 aggregates on the skandhas, could you please just very simply define what is sankharas? Which kind of, is it emotions, thoughts, intentions? How would you define sankharas?
Sankharas means activities. So basically it means all the activities in the brain, all the activities in the mind. It's kind of active mental formation. When we try to think, when we try to intend to do something, when we actively involved in the process, then this is sankhara. It's kind of activity of the mind. And the sanya, that means the perception, is the data, the database, and the sankhara is the CPU, is to process. But they need some data to process, right? That is the data from the sanya, from the perception. Sanya is the translator. It translates all the 5 sensory information into system language of the brain, into the symbols, into the concepts, so that the sankhara, the CPU, can use this data to process some programs.
Okay.
Right? So is it clear now?
Yeah, it's very clear. Thank you.
Okay. And yes, I don't have a number. 6. Yeah, 6. Yes.
I hope all is fine with you there in the coldness.
Yeah, it's not that cold comparing to your country.
Actually, here it's too warm for the season. Much.
Right.
Anyway, today in the sitting, it was quite clear how the mind goes, almost like in cycles of unpleasant feelings coming now and then. And immediately when the unpleasant feeling comes, the mind wants to think and like go away in thinking. And but then like immediately going back and just staying with the body, just seeing how this kind of almost like an energy is just passing, and then comes something more neutral or something more pleasant, and then it all starts again. So slowly, almost going like cycles. So the mind was very aware of the breath in these cycles. Like when it started to be unpleasant, the breath also started to be quite short or quite
or coarse.
Yeah. So not so smooth and not so deep. It like went up and being tense. So in some way the mind was quite awake to this inner process, and at the same time it was like it noticed some like the coarser sense of sleepiness. That's quite aversive, but the subtler sense of sleepiness can be very like pleasant and take the mind in without noticing, like becoming one with something. The mind think it is aware, but slowly it goes into something that is quite a little bit pleasant, but it's sleepy.
Yeah, the mindfulness is not enough. Because the mind is not bright enough. So sometimes it gets lost in the slot and torpor. Actually, it's because of the tiredness. There's still some subtle tiredness in the brain. But don't be too aggressive. We are not the master. Don't try to control. Don't try to resist. But just be aware that the mind is like this. And in this case, you can try to intake some more oxygen with deeper breath, more oxygen to the brain. Then that will improve the situation. And actually, there's two ways, two approaches to increase the activity level of the brain. One is to relax, to reduce the activity, reduce the scattered mind. And the other is to intake more energy, oxygen, with breathing. And if you have practiced some yoga breathing, then it can help. Like some kind of rapid breathing, rapid and short breathing. It takes a lot of air into the lungs, and the brain will be refreshed. And combined with the relaxation of the brain, the effect will be very, very, very good, better than just simply relaxation. These are the antidotes for sleepiness. Sometimes the sleepiness is so strong, and we need to have more methods to deal with it. So try to recognize and try to identify the phases of the mind like this. Sometimes the sleepiness happens in such a subtle way. And when you feel that your mind is not bright enough, it's not sharp enough, actually the dullness of the mind is sleepiness. It's not in torpor already. So you can using the breathing to improve the sharpness of the mind. Okay, you can try later next time.
Thank you.
Yeah. And number 16.
Hello, Ajahn.
Yes.
I think there's nothing much to share because yesterday today was okay. I think a lot of time was in the present moment, but I've got to be more mindful in my daily life. So that's it.
Okay, that's all. Okay, good.
You was in the yesterday section as well, is it?
And the 17, do you have something new?
Not really today.
Okay, so just continue practice.
Thank you.
Try to enjoy the practice.
Yeah.
If we can enjoy the practice, then we can gain a lot of energy from practicing. It's not a stressful work for us. Try to enjoy it, fuse it into our life, and at the same time try to reduce the sensual pleasures that are more enjoyable than meditation. If meditation is the most enjoyable thing in the life, then the mind will automatically want to look for meditation. Right? So the mind is content with the present moment, then we don't need anything else.
Yes, I guess for me, I try to put more into the daily practice and try to put it more with wisdom to see the change.
Yes. Actually, we cannot separate the mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. As I said, we need to cultivate the mind to have all these three qualities. They should be of the same mind. When the mind is with the present moment, then it should have mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom at the same time. So we don't need to separate the samatha vipassana. It is a wrong approach to separate these two as two kinds of meditation. They are of the same mind. We need to cultivate both the samadhi, the stability of the mind, and the right perspective of the mind until the mind becomes wiser. So all the whole practice of in Buddhism is for wisdom. It's a path leading to vipassana. And peacefulness and precepts and mindfulness are all the criteria for wisdom. So they are of the same path. They are one single path. And the samatha vipassana should be at the same time. Should do it at the same time. When the mind is tired, then you can take some rest with samatha. But when the mind is normal, then we should live in a way of mindfulness. The Buddha taught only the satipatthanas, only the way of practicing mindfulness. And samatha vipassana are all in the satipatthanas. Okay. I think you understand already, but I just take a chance to say something to everyone.
More practice, yes. In the daily. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn. And number 3.
Today, my meditation session is very peaceful. I was sort of like can follow the instruction of Ajahn on the meditation, the guided meditation, but also at the same time I was aware of the voice surrounding me, and also aware of my mental state. And I see that it just comes very naturally that sometimes Ajahn voice or the voice outside or any thoughts that come in, the next thing that pop up in my mind is that all these things are non-self, all these things are anatta. And then many a times the mind is at the center, and I can see the mind is very is free. It's compared to yesterday. Yesterday I was very agitated because something happened in my company. I was very agitated. Yesterday there are a lot of thoughts. And even in the evening yesterday when I was doing some treatment, I also my mind was not really happy. But I do notice that, I do observe that. But this morning I decided that I need to put some nutrients or vitamins for the mind, so I decided to do a longer meditation. And I could see that the mind is centered. Then it's free. It's like a kind of very free feelings, very calm, and very alert and very mindful. And suddenly, I have a scenario whereby I see that the mindfulness, the knower is observing the mind, So the mind itself is not mine, because I can stand up and observe the mind at the center. So I automatically come to my mind that this is not me. This is not my mind, because I can stand up and see it. But also the next moment, another scenario comes by, and I see that this knower, this mindfulness that observe the mind is also not mine. But then after that, I do not know what's that anymore. It's just like, and I have a feeling
it's
that
never ending.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's never ending. I have a feeling that I need to destroy, I need to go beyond this mind and beyond these 5 aggregates. And after that, I say, okay, my level is not up there yet. I'll just stop, I'll just stay here, whatever I am, I'll just leave it in present.
No, these are just concepts. Actually, what you said, you observe the mind, you know your mind. Actually, you are not knowing the mind direct. You are knowing the image of the mind. So you are just knowing the manifestations of the mind, not the mind itself. If you know the mind itself, then who is knowing this knowing mind? Who is knowing this one who is knowing the mind?
Exactly. I was quite, when this question raised, I couldn't answer and say, okay, my level, my sharpness is not there yet to really understand the whole scenario. I just stay there. It's okay.
Actually, what you can know, you call the mind. It's just the image of the mind, just like the image in the mirror. The eye can never see the eye, but the eye can see the image of the eye in the mirror. Right?
Yeah.
So whatever we can see are just image. Whatever we can see are just objects.
Yeah.
So when you say that you see you know your mind, so now the mind becomes the object. It's just the image of the mind, and the one who is knowing the object is the mind. The mind is the knower only when it is knowing, only when it is not the object. Once it becomes the object, then it is no longer the knower.
Okay. Ajahn, if I were to interpret it in my own way, is that the reason why this scenario still comes by, because the mind still have attachment to the 5 aggregates. So when the mind is detached from all the 5 aggregates, it just becomes the knower itself, the consciousness itself. How can I?
Actually, the knowing function, the function of knowing, is still belong to the 5 aggregates. If it is outside 5 aggregates, we have no way to know, because knowing is the function of vinyana, the consciousness, right? Okay. And why the consciousness in the 5 khandhas has problem, because it has the attachment to ego. When we think that this consciousness is me, is self, then this consciousness is polluted, is diluted consciousness. So that is called the 5 aggregates due to clinging, the panchupatthana khandha, 5 khandhas, which is born from clinging, as a result of clinging. So what we can do is still using this consciousness, because this is the only way that we can know. But what we are practicing is to let go the clinging, let go the clinging that this consciousness is me, itself. So when we don't have the attachment to this ego, then we simply know from the consciousness. The consciousness, the knower itself, is part of the 5 khandhas. But we are practicing is to let go the attachment to this consciousness too. So we let go the objects and also let go the knower. So that is what I said. the mind at the middle of the ring, center of the ring. It is inside the ring, but it's not on the ring.
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. I have one more question, because last time when I was, because last time I practiced a lot of samadhi, and then my breathing point is actually down below near the sexual organ there. I could feel the breathing point there. But after a certain period of time, then I could concentrate well, and then from there I see those, I think I've told you before, the skeleton and the elements of the body and the 32 parts of the body. But I think this part is getting lesser and lesser, and also at the same time now, every time when I sit, my concentration just go directly towards the center of the mind. It's no longer the point of samadhi that I used to focus on. So I would just like to seek clarification whether this is okay, or you know, whether I'm at the right track.
The mind has no spatial position. Although sometimes we have some corresponding feelings or sensations in the body when we are knowing. Sometimes we feel that the knowing is in the at the middle of the chest. Sometimes in the third eye chakra. These are just feelings, corresponding feelings in the body, but not the mind itself. The mind arouses these feelings, but doesn't mean that the mind is in these positions. So whatever you feel, you have feeling in the body, it doesn't mean that the mind is there. They are just feelings in the body, or the feelings of the chakra, the energy. But it doesn't mean that this is the mind. So no matter where you pay attention to, then your mind is there. If you pay attention to your finger, then your mind is in the finger now, right?
So the main, which means that the main issue here, the key issue here is not really where the focal point is, but whether the mindfulness is there to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the best way to do the mindfulness is a mindfulness without attachment to anything.
Okay. I got it. Yep.
So it is the knowing from nowhere.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Ajahn.
Number 2.
Ajahn, and actually nothing special this morning in the meditation, and at the beginning the mind calms down quickly, but later also some wandering thoughts come in and out, and not easy to listen every words of your teachings. Just come back and forth like that.
And how is daily life in this week?
Daily life this week, because from Wednesday, the government has announced the officials can work from home. So my work from home life starts from Wednesday, and so I can have more time to have meditation. Actually, in past few weeks, from on weekdays, I don't have pay much time on meditation. But so in the past few days, every day I can take around 1 hour to have meditation.
The more important is to keep the continuity of mindfulness, continuity of knowing, so that the mind will be more secured. It's not a kind of mountain and valley. It's a great difference between the work and meditation. But just keep it flat, keep it even. So when it is peaceful, just know that it is peaceful. When it is not peaceful, just know that it is not peaceful. Try to go beyond the activities of the life. Because whatever we are doing, the mind is experiencing the same. Whether in the meditations or in the work, whether in the time of in the sadness or in the happiness, the mind is experiencing the same. It is just simply knowing. So try to wake up the mind, whatever you are doing. This is more important than the length of meditation.
I've kept trying.
Yeah, to live in a more awakened way. Just come back to the present moment. Know what you are doing, and when the mind is noisy, then just know that it is the sound from the mind. It's nothing more than this. Okay.
Thank you.
And number 4.
Morning, Ajahn.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So like today when I was sitting, because I'm also hosting this meeting, so I kept trying to find out what's the source of some little noise. So I check if I forgot to unmute someone, and then and then I came back, and then when I hear that the sound of your breath, then I immediately I think like, oh my God, should I send him a message to remind him? and then a few seconds after, okay, that stopped. Okay, fine now. And then I start to think like if I should try to find you a headset which could release your burden, because I see that you have to hold the mic all the time and it's not that good. So just stuff like that. And then
I have one. I have one Bluetooth headset, but the voice is not that good.
Okay.
We have tested, but the voice is not that good. But anyway, don't be too nervous on this. It's not the time to think about this.
And I have and I'm not very used to have guided meditation still. After all these times that I've joined your meditation. So the mind's kind of like shifting back and forth like that. So I got something that I should be worried to be care about because I'm the host. And also like should I just watch this wandering mind, like this mind that I'm caring about you, about the meeting. So I try to watch this mind instead of listen to your voice. So I should try to do that.
Actually, when we are listening to the Dhamma talk in the meditation, we are actually doing the same. If we can cultivate the mind to have the full awareness, our mindfulness becomes complete, then the knowing becomes all-embracing. It knows both the breathing and also the voice and also the meanings in the brain. The mind is open, and such knowing is automatic. We don't need to focus onto certain aspects in order to know. So when the mind becomes complete, this is sampajanya. When sampajanya happens, then it's natural And just keep open to everything, including the voice, including the meanings from the brain, thoughts from the brain. They are the same, and we also don't need to have want to follow the instruction, to have want to understand everything. Just keep neutral, and when the mindfulness becomes complete, then it changes. It knows automatically. So when the mind is thinking about this and that, just know that these are the thoughts. It's not the time to do this. So just forget it, and start again. And looking at the meditation object without not in a too controlling manner. When we are too controlling, because we are afraid that we are mindful, the mind we wander to other places, then we sometimes will be too controlling. Then such controlling manner will limit our mind. The mindfulness becomes narrow, then you will feel all other distractions. It's because of the fear that the mind will wander to other places. Just be open to the present moment.
So what's the object? So what's the object? Is the voice?
It depends on you. If you are used to the breathing, just use the breathing. Or Bhutto, just use a Bhutto. They will not fighting with each other when the mindfulness becomes complete. Then the breathing or the Bhutto becomes the background. And sometimes the thoughts come, sometimes the voice, the meaning, and you still know that the breathing is at the background. They are still there. Or the Bhutto is at the background. You still know there. Just like when you are doing something at home and you have some background music. Your work, you know the work, and also you know the background music, right? So when it is the mind is in the right mindfulness, then it is like this.
Yeah, sometimes when I join your guided meditation, your voice is the object, but it's just a sound, but not the not.
Yeah, because you're using the brain, the meaning from the brain.
Yeah, it's doing something. If I try to catch the meaning, and if I try to consider or you think follow the contents of your speech. So sometimes it's just a voice, it's just a sound.
So you're not listening. You are listening with the ear, but not listening with the brain. Sometimes you're listening with the brain, but not listening with the mind. There are different layers of different levels of openness. Don't be afraid that this will make our mindfulness disappear. It's not like this. If the mind is at the center, at the middle of everything, it's knowing, but it's not attached to any part of it. Not attached to the voice, not attached to the meaning, and not attached to the breath. But it knows. If you in your situation that you are refusing the activities of the brain, you think that the meanings from the brain is kind of distraction. But we need the brain to understand language. It is necessary, right? But if we simply be the knower, then the message from the brain is also just kind of object. It's not an enemy to the mind. Just like the breathing, nothing different. Actually, if you don't limit if you don't restrict the brain works itself. When it hears the voice, it understands the meaning automatically, because we are so well practiced in this way. So just let them come in. It's not harmful. And let them come in. If you think that they are enemies, then they are enemies. So as I said, listening to Dhamma in the meditation is kind of it's a good training. It's a training of the openness of the mind.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn.
Number 7. Do you have something new to say? Practice your English.
Today is very peaceful. And today is quite peaceful, and because after your meditation session yesterday, I feel headache continuously for last night, so I sleep very early and sleep for 12 hours.
Oh.
So today is full of sleep and full of energy to join your meditation session.
It's the amount of 3 days sleep of me.
Yes, half day sleeping. But when doing the meditation, still some part of headache come back again, but just a little bit, and then continue. Meditation is quite peaceful. That's all.
And usually, how many hours you sleep every day?
Not many, about 5 to 6 hours, maybe.
You can try what's the best amount of sleep that you need. It's different from different person. Physical conditions and the amount of thinking in our daily life, and also the mental situation. Everyone is different. So try out our best amount of sleep and keep the time, just like observing the precept. Keep it as a precept. When it's time to sleep, just go to sleep. And before going to sleep, prepare the mind to before sleep, to clear up the rubbish in the mind, lower down the activities of the brain before sleep. Not take it as an precept, as a practice. And if we don't have such obstacles from sleep, then our meditation will improve. And when our mindfulness is improved, when we think less in our life, emotional, more stable, then the need for sleep will be reduced naturally. So our exercise, our meals, our sleep are all parts of our precept. This is our own responsibility to adjust this body and mind into a better condition for practice. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone asked any more questions? No more? Okay, then see you next week or tonight.
Before we say goodbye to Ajahn, we let us bow together or in your own way, like to Ajahn 3 times.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ajali Vandana. Abhi Vandana. Ajali Vandana. Abhi Vandana. Ajali Vandana. Abhi Vandana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
If I have the chance, I will go to visit you, Greg. Okay, see you next time.